some used hand grenades given to them by the now-defunct Imperial Japanese Army. 93-year-old Takaesu Toshiko is one of the survivors.
I don't want my grandchildren and great-grandchildren to experience the fear and pain I went through at that time. I pray that this peace will continue for a long time.
Locals face challenges passing down memories of the battle to future generations as the number of living survivors dwindles each year. The Chinese government says a court has sentenced a Taiwan-based publisher to 3 years in prison for what it called inciting secession. Li Yanhu, the editor-in-chief of Taiwanese book publishing firm, went missing on a visit to China in March 2023. The Chinese government later announced that Li was being investigated by anti-espionage authorities. A spokesperson for the Taiwan Affairs Office of China's State Council disclosed in a press conference that Li had been sentenced last month.
Yes. February 17th, 2025. The judge in the court of first instance sentenced Li Yanhe to 3 years in prison for inciting the division of the country.
The spokesperson did not specify what Li had done that was considered a crime, but his company has published books critical of Beijing. A Taiwanese group of Li's supporters issued a statement criticizing the process from his detention to the court ruling for lacking transparency. The group stressed that the case has cast a shadow over cross-strait cultural exchanges. It said the incident has led many in Taiwan's cultural community to question how Chinese authorities view ordinary cultural activities, publications, and freedom of speech. South Korean fire crews are battling to contain deadly, fast-moving blazes burning across parts of the country's southeast. At least 24 people have died since it all began last week, including some of those fighting to contain the flames. The wildfires are being driven by strong winds and fueled by dry conditions. Local media report some people have been found dead on roads, suggesting they were caught by the fires while trying to evacuate. On Wednesday afternoon, a firefighting helicopter crashed in North Gyeongsang province, killing the pilot. Officials suspended air operations for 2 hours, hampering efforts to stop some wildfires from spreading. 4 firefighters were also killed during ground operations in South Gyeongsang province. Weather conditions remain challenging, and the number of people displaced by the fires is still growing. Meanwhile, 3 separate wildfires continue to ravage parts of western Japan. The first was sparked Sunday in Ibaraki Prefecture's Ibaraki City. More than 400 hectares have burned so far, including several homes and warehouses. Nearly 6,000 people have been told to evacuate. Another wildfire also broke out Sunday, this time in Okayama Prefecture. It has burned over 500 hectares across Okayama and Tamano cities as of 2 p.m. Wednesday. Residents of both have been urged to evacuate. It's grown to be the largest forest fire ever recorded in the prefecture. Finally, a third blaze broke out in Miyazaki Prefecture midday Tuesday. No injuries or damage have yet been reported. The White House says it's reached agreements with Russia and Ukraine to halt attacks on the Black Sea and ensure safe navigation. It's the second phase of a ceasefire Washington hopes to achieve in 3 stages. But the Kremlin says certain conditions must be met in order for it to go into effect. The Trump administration announced the deals on Tuesday after separate talks with the 2 countries in Saudi Arabia. But Russia's presidential office says some restrictions must be lifted before the agreements start. This includes those on trade and financial transactions. Western sanctions have hurt the Russian economy, with inflation hitting 10% last month. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky criticized Russia's response.
They are already trying trying to distort the agreement and actually deceive our mediators and the whole world.
A reporter asked U.S. President Donald Trump if he would agree to all of Moscow's conditions.
We're looking at them, and we're thinking about all of them right now. There's about 5 or 6 conditions. We're looking at all of them.
One expert says Russia's demands are part of a deliberate tactic to engage directly with the U.S. and freeze Ukraine out of the negotiations.
Russia is making tough demands because it wants to separate the U.S. from the West. It wants to break through the Western sanctions. This is one of its aims.
The fighting continues in Ukraine amid the talks. A Russian missile strike on the northeastern city of Sumy injured more than 100 on Monday. And a Ukrainian attack in the Russian-controlled region of Luhansk on the same day reportedly killed 6. Over 500,000 migrants welcomed into the U.S. under a Biden administration program might be shown the door. The Trump administration is revoking the humanitarian parole status of about 530,000 migrants from 4 Central and South American countries. The Department of Homeland Security announced on Tuesday that it's terminating the parole programs for what it terms inadmissible aliens and their immediate family members. The migrants were allowed in from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. The system was introduced in 2022 as a humanitarian measure, but the Trump administration has described the people in this program as illegal migrants flown into the U.S. by former President Joe Biden using taxpayers' money. The department is giving the parole recipients 30 days to leave the country if they have no other legal basis for staying. Trump made immigration policy a key theme of his presidential campaign. A support group blasted the order, saying it'll cause needless chaos and heartbreak for families and communities across the U.S. Thai Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra has survived a no-confidence vote in Parliament in a major test of her leadership. She has been grilled for 2 days over the influence of her father, the country's former leader Thaksin Shinawatra, on government policies. Lower house lawmakers voted against the motion on Wednesday by 319 to 162. Paetongtarn told reporters she's happy with the result and thanked all the lawmakers for their participation in the debate.